Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Big Apple Hockey. It is great to have you guys with us, especially after the Rangers just tied their series at 2 with the Carolina Hurricanes. I, of course, am your host, Mark Williams, and I am joined by the man known as the Underfilker. Yes, I'm using that again, Mr. John Falkowski.
I'm never gonna live that down, am I? But
Well, when
yeah,
you do a dead-on impression, yes.
I thought mine was pretty bad, to be honest with you. But I'll go WWE and quote Montez Ford from the Street Profits and just say that Tony D'Angelo does not want the smoke.
And of course, joining us, Mr. Anthony LaRocco.
How's it going, guys? First, before we get to everything else, I'm just going to take a page out of Steve Kerr's playbook, the head coach of the Warriors. I don't know if you saw what's floating around on social media. He sat down yesterday and he didn't take any basketball questions. And for about 2 minutes, he just went off on the events that transpired yesterday with that senseless shooting in Texas. And as a father of 2 kids, I'm sick of this. And I'm glad that Steve Kerr used his platform to talk about it. I know this isn't even close to the platform that he has being an NBA, but I'm going to just take a minute and just say how disgusted I am by it. Enough is enough. It has to stop. Just thinking about kids I have 2 kids. It just really, really, really pisses me off. And it has to stop. And he said it best. He said, at the game tonight, there's going to be a moment of silence. Everyone's going to say thoughts and prayers. And everyone kind of moves on with their life. And I'm just really pissed off about it. Something has to be done. I'll admit I'm as right as it gets, but I do see points on the other side. It should not be this easy there has to be some sort of gun reform. It can't be this easy for this lunatic 18-year-old kid to buy 2 guns and then just go off. It's disgusting. Something has to change, and I'm done hearing about it. And protect our goddamn children.
And yeah, and especially from the voice of the guy who is the father out of the 3 of us, I did want to let Anthony say something right there, because you never want to see anything like that ever happen. But we are going to get to talking about the hockey right now, and we're going to start with the Rangers evening their series against the Carolina Hurricanes, winning 4-1 last night. A great, it's possibly, I think, the most dominating game the Rangers have played all playoffs, and just getting contributions up and down the lineup. The big save that Shesterkin made on Brett Pesce to start the game. Zibanejad scoring to make it 3-1, basically putting the game on ice, or 3-0, I mean, and then Teravainen actually having that pinpoint shot. Andrew Kopp with a great play. Filk, who has got the momentum in this series right now, and what are you looking at? There it is. All right, he's holding up his Ranger shirt.
I don't know if I need to say much more than that, but you have the momentum. You won 2 games in a row. Tony D'Angelo is in his own head right now. He's having a horrendous series. Max Domi is in his own head right now. I mean, there was a guy in Game 7 that had probably his best game as a Hurricane, and then he turns around and he starts acting like this. And I just think it's bad for Carolina because they're an undisciplined penalty. They were, I think, number 1 in the league in penalties taken during the regular season, if I was correct. But I know they were one of the most top penalized teams in the league, and they take a lot of penalties, a lot of undisciplined play. The Rangers are in their head right now. And Ryan Reeves, I mean, say what you want about him not being able to skate with these guys and saying that he should be used in certain situations. But for all of his shortcomings, he's doing the one thing that can turn an entire series around, and that's getting in the opposition's head. And he's clearly in all their heads. Tony D'Angelo up in Ryan Reeves' face, didn't have that on my 2022 playoffs bingo card. Did not have that there. Did not have Max Domi trying to go after Ryan Reeves. Like, this is great. Ryan Reeves is taking their best players. Whatever you want to say about Max Domi, fine. I don't care. But Max Domi's still a good player. And you're taking those guys off their games and completely Ilya Kovalchucking them like Sean Avery in the 2007 playoffs against the Atlanta Thrashers right now. And it's working. And it's continuing to work. And Ryan Reeves has been, as I've said all year, a strong, strong presence in that locker room. And now Jacob Trouba steps up and nails Max Domi. You know they mean business. So the Rangers have all the momentum. They're going back to Raleigh. If they can just persevere through the line matchups in Game 5, win that game, you come back to MSG with a chance to close it out in Game 6 against a team that has not won a road game in this entire postseason. I got to say, the Rangers, they should win this series. They should at this point.
Anthony, so what's on the other side? What's Carolina got to do?
Well, I said during the Boston series, they're a different team at home than they are away. I mean, they're 6-0 at home. They haven't lost, but yet they haven't won on the road. So for me, this series comes down to the first team that wins a game away is going to win the series. That's just I think that's just a fact. I think whatever team is the first team to win a game on the road is going to win. The Rangers need to find a way to win in Carolina. If they win in Carolina, then I think I think they're going to win the series. But similar to how what the Flames are going to be facing with the next 2 to 3 games being at their home ice, what the Rangers had last series against Pittsburgh when they were down 3-1. 2 of the last 3 were at home. Carolina has the same opportunity. So if Carolina can win and go up 3-2, even if they lose and it's this Game 7, it's they have things on their side with a home Game 7 at their barn. So I think the Rangers are playing really, really good hockey. Obviously, at home they manhandled the Hurricanes, but they just need to find a way to win in Carolina. If they can win in Carolina, then I think the series is theirs. But it's going to be hard. Carolina's, like I said, they're a different team at home. They're 6-0. They play their game much more. Their matchups obviously help them out. But boy, I mean, the Hurricanes away just look disjointed. The Rangers need to bring that same game to PNC Arena and see what happens. But I give a lot of credit to the Rangers for battling back and evening the series. It could have been easy for them to kind of just lay down and be a little listless, but that's not them. Their hashtag no quit New York. They showed that. Now it's just a matter of trying to get the job done on the road.
I look at this series right now, and again, I'm going to point to one guy in particular, and it is Igor Shesterkin. I put up the numbers a minute ago: 1.25 goals against in this series, and a 959 save percentage, which isn't first in this round for players. We'll get to that guy in a second, but this is just unbelievable. Just what it's right now. If you're Carolina, it's getting to the point where you're taking shots, and you might think about throwing your stick at them when you're after you're done, because you can't beat them. And if the 2 goals in Game 1 that he did allow, one was deflected, and one was, I still think, poor back checking by the defense. Right now, if he can go in and steal Game 5 for the Rangers, and they can get a little bit of offense, they just got to get 2 goals the way they're playing. And then that's it. Then they go home and they have a chance to wrap it up. I did predict Canes in 7. I will be happy to be wrong, since you see all the Ranger stuff behind me. But I think it's a little bit more than just hold serve at home. If you're Carolina, they got to really do something. They got to really their power play is listless. I put that number up there before. They're 0 for 9 in the series on the power play, and it's just. Yeah, if I'm the Rangers, I'm feeling supremely confident right now.
Yeah, I think if anything, this is big, because now you've won 2 games in a row. Your goaltender is back to Hart Trophy candidate form, and then when he gets there, that's a big problem for a team that knows that they are struggling offensively, knows they are struggling on the power play, and knows that they struggle on the road. They're in their own heads. They're their worst enemy right now, Carolina. And you know what? I said that, I thought that Carolina was going to come out and they were going to absolutely pump the Rangers. And, before the series started. And then I took a look at what the Rangers did against Pittsburgh and how Carolina did against Boston. I was like, you know what? The Rangers are going to make this closer than we think, but I still think Carolina is going to win. And now all of a sudden, we're looking at the Rangers possibly taking this series. They have everything in their favor right now, and they have the tools to go do it. So you win the next 2 games, and bang, you're going on to the Eastern Conference Finals, where you're going to have to face an absolute sleeping giant that's waiting for them. But that's another story. So let's take this game by game, and the Rangers just need to come out fast, physical, and they just need to be smart in the next game. Igor Shesterkin is going to be Igor Shesterkin. I think those 2 bad games where he's pulled against Pittsburgh, those are out of his system. I don't think you're getting another performance after him in the rest of the playoffs, provided the Rangers don't absolutely crap the bed in front of him defensively. So Carolina, they got their work cut out for them.
Right. So no Amber Heard anywhere near the New York Rangers. And Anthony, you're going to have the last word on that, but I also want to bring back this memory. The attitude, if you remember us talking Saturday, this is almost a 180 from it. We were like, oh, the Rangers are nearly dead and buried. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, because Carolina's up 2-0. When you're down 2-0, it's easy to get negative, especially when you're playing a team that's not a great matchup. But I agree with you guys. I mean, I thought the Rangers have been the better team sans game 2. If Carolina could play the way they did in game 2, where they kind of stifled the Rangers and gave them nothing, then yeah, they could be in good shape again. But they have to play that brand of Hurricanes hockey in game 5 and get some confidence back. Because if the Rangers get ahead early, or take it to them, it could be easy for the Hurricanes to, kind of not lose hope, but kind of get a little nervous and grip the sticks a little tight. So if the Hurricanes can come out in game 5, get an early goal, and then play that stifling brand of hockey, then they're going to get a lot of confidence again. But then, going back into the Garden for game 6, they get hit in the face with the reality of they haven't won on the road. So this could seesaw a little bit, if the Rangers are feeling good right now, but if the Hurricanes take game 5, now it kind of swings the other way, where the Hurricanes thinking, okay, well, we just need one more to advance. So this is, I know it's obvious when it's a tied series and they say a pivotal game 5, but it literally is pivotal based on the fact that the Hurricanes are undefeated at home but haven't won away. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting. Really interesting.
Phil.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It just I just thought of something, because not only have they not been able to win on the road, and the rank obviously Carolina has a big advantage at home, but got to think of it this way: it's a best of 3 series now, and it's going to be tough to beat either one of these teams 2 times in a row in these situations, because 1, Carolina is going to have a game. They're going to have 2 or 3 games at home. 2, on the other side of it, you're going to have to beat somebody who's playing like an MVP, like a Hart Trophy winner right now, 2 times in a row. I don't know if they can do that. I don't know if Carolina can do that. If the Rangers, not only that, but another stat that I just want to bring up real quick. Rangers have had the lead in 3 of the 4 games in the series. Carolina has led in only 1 game this entire series. So we were talking about, Carolina, they're playing bad. That was going around. I think that it's not that Carolina's playing bad. It's the Rangers have finally cleaned everything up defensively.
Yeah, and they even opened. I still think they opened it up a little bit, and I kind of also want to hear what Bissonnette's going to have to say about that. So, by the way, everybody, we're going to lose Anthony for a second, but don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can see that handsome mug underneath there, and also to smash that like button. All right. All right. So we are going to do a little bar talk right now, and we have a lot more NHL playoff coverage to do.
I'm going to take a shot on this one.
I'm going to say beer. I'm buying everybody around on this. Oh my God.
Did we lose Anthony just now?
Looks like his connection is
A little bit slow. Yeah. Hopefully he'll be back in like 1 second. All right. Well, everybody, welcome back to Big Apple Hockey Bar Talk, where we gauge our confidence on NHL topics based on our choice of drink. Are you so confident you're going to buy everybody around? Yeah, so you'll have a beer, or oh my God, I need a shot. Well, yeah, or it's that weird Suffolk County stuff
Can
that's out there.
Can we get the AOL sound, the connecting noise? Dun, 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 dun.
Philk, every day Barclay Goodrow gets a little bit more healthy, and every time he's getting more healthy, there's a chance he's going to get back in the lineup. And there's also a possibility with Sammy Blais starting to skate with the team, still with a non-contact jersey. But, and here we go. We got Anthony back. And there he is. Oh, still black. As long as we can hear him. Can we hear you?
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
good.
there we go.
All right, there he is. There he is. Did you even change your shirt too?
No.
Okay. All right.
You just pulled a what? No.
Yeah. I got my party like it's 1995 when the Bills won when they won the division in 2020, 2 years ago.
Wow. All right. Yeah. By the way, I remember that they smoked the Miami Dolphins in the wild card round. That wasn't even close. All right. So when Barclay Goodrow is healthy again, the New York Rangers should scratch Philip Hedl. Philk, start it off.
God, what is this?
No,
what is going on with this?
it is to
There's
generate
other guys that would
reactions.
No, this has to be a troll question, because there's no possible way you could be looking to scratch Filipino the way that he's played. Sorry, but that's not happening. I'm ending this there because this is stupid.
Okay. Anthony.
Yeah, I gotta agree with Phil. He does playing well. I mean, the only thing I'll say is Barclay Goodrow has won cups. So I think maybe his experience and knowing what it takes at this time of year is good to have in the lineup. But I don't know if it should be a defensive torpedo.
I'm just gonna put the shot right back up there. I did pose this question because I went through that lineup. You can't scratch anybody in their top six. You can't take Ryan Reeves out of the lineup right now. You can't take Kevin Rooney or
you can take Kevin Rooney.
Yeah, Kevin Rooney or Tyler Mott. Absolutely not. So that leaves you to the kid line, which has been their best line. And maybe it's Kako, but somebody's going to have to sit for Barclay Goodrow, and especially if it's Sammy Blais is back in. So, I mean, the Rangers might have some lineup questions for good reasons, but it's going to be interesting. And as long as everybody understands their roles, then there won't be any problems. And especially Alexei Lafreniere had a great game, I thought, last night. So, no, you can't take him out either. Yeah. Anthony, we're going to your neck of the woods on this one. The Islanders' top free agent target should be Johnny Gaudreau.
I don't know. I go back and forth on this. I know Forsberg's a pure sniper, which is exactly what the doctor ordered. That's what they need. However, Gaudreau's no slouch in filling the net himself. Everyone kind of views him more of a playmaker, but the guy could absolutely score. So it's hard. I think Gaudreau is going to cost a little more than Forsberg. I mean, Forsberg's ain't coming cheap, but I think Gaudreau's AAV, being that a guy had 113 points or whatever he had, is going to be a lot higher than what Forsberg will get. So, either or, I'd be ecstatic with both. So I guess I'll go beer. But I will say it's absolutely imperative that Big Lou needs to come away with at least one of Gaudreau, Forsberg, or Tarasenko or Fiala through trade. He needs to get someone of that ilk. Signing Burakovsky as a free agent, or Niederreiter or Trocheck. They're really good players, but they need someone of those four that I mentioned realistically.
Phil.
I'm going to say round. talks about Forsberg, and I know I've even said before that they need a top-end goal scorer, but I really think offensively there's a concern. There's a sizable gap between Gaudreau and Forsberg. And I know that the talent is close, but Johnny Gaudreau just makes the players around him so much better. And the Islanders, not only do they need a pure sniper, but they need someone who can be another offensive facilitator aside from Matthew Barzal. Because look at that lineup. Matthew Barzal's the one guy that can really facilitate the offense. Who else is there? Anders Lee is more of a complementary player. Brock Nelson is better suited as a complementary player, but has evolved into more of a goal scorer than we ever thought he would be. Anthony Beauvillier, more of a complementary player, a good one at that, but a complementary player. Josh Bailey, that guy's riding everybody's coattails that he's going to be playing with. So you're gonna need guys that really can set the table for you and drive play. Johnny Gaudreau is exactly that. That should be their number one target. It's a matter of whether they have the cap space to get him and then complete their future tasks in the following off seasons, i.e. Matt Barzal and so on. So I'm buying around on this.
You know what? I got to go with buying around too, because the Islanders are going to have cap space, and it's going to be, hey, you know what? Go get the biggest fish, and the biggest one is Johnny Gaudreau. I would even go him over Forsberg, but to me, it's Gaudreau's the guy to go after.
I also
Forsberg,
think,
if they get him, as a great consolation prize, Anthony.
I also think Gaudreau's more likely to leave than I think you've been hearing that Forsberg wants to make it work in Nashville. I mean, let's face it, Johnny Gaudreau is the best free agent available coming off the season that he had, and he's an East Coast kid. I just think he's going to look to get out of Calgary. So I think that alone, there's maybe a little bit more of a chance because I think he prefers to come east.
Here's the problem. The rumor that has been going around for the last year and change is that he wants to go to Philly because he's a South
Jersey. Yeah.
So that's going to be the problem. Remember, what was it? 10 years ago, we were talking about Zach Parise saying Islanders fans are saying that Zach Parise might want to come to the island because his father played for the Islanders and he ended up going home to Minnesota. So the going home part plays a big part in it.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to Philk's wheelhouse because we're going to talk about probably the story of the playoffs right now. But if the playoffs ended today, Philk, Connor McDavid is the Conn Smythe Trophy winner.
Round. I don't have enough beers in the world to buy everybody on this one. The guy has 25 points in 11 games. Who has done that other than Wayne Gretzky or Mario Lemieux? Who? I want an answer on this because nobody has. It's ridiculous. This guy is just his own universe right now. He's the most dominant player we have seen since 93 Mario Lemieux. Right now, what he's doing is other friggin' worldly. There's no way to just describe this otherwise. The craziest part about it is that he has clowns like Mike Smith giving up goals from 200 feet away, and he's still bringing his team to beat a team that's heavily favored. They're up 3-1 in that series. It's because Connor McDavid decided, I've had enough of this shit. We're going to win, and I'm going to do whatever it takes, and you're not stopping me. I dare you to stop me is basically what he's telling Calgary. He is the NHL right now, Connor McDavid. Market the shit out of this guy to the moon and just do everything you can with him because we are seeing Jesus in hockey form.
Anthony, follow that.
It's a round. I don't know what else there's to say after that. I mean, the guy with a 2.27 points per game in the Stanley Cup playoffs is just filthy. He's by far the best player in the league. And, I sent that tweet to you guys yesterday with TSN talking about is he the best ever? Phil and I have been beating that drum for a while now. In terms of pure talent, I think he's the most talent that the game has ever seen.
Easily.
So this is a round by far. And just to get Phil fired up, I'm going to throw Mark under the bus a little bit here, Phil. Before you came on, we were talking about Conn Smythe winners, and when I mentioned McDavid, Mark tried to say, "Oh, well, Draisaitl's right behind him in points," kind of saying that maybe McDavid doesn't deserve it as much credit as he's getting, which is just insane. No, Mark, it's McDavid. You can't take anything away from the guy. He's ridiculous. And that the goal he scored the other night where Zadorov outweighs him by quite a lot and is much bigger. Went to hit him, and he just he's unbelievable. He is unbelievable.
I'm going to take myself out from under the bus that Anthony just threw me under and say the thing that hurts McDavid is that Draisaitl is right behind him in points. No. If you watch those games, Connor McDavid is crushing.
And did you see where they were at one point in the LA series where Connor McDavid was over 2 points per game and Draisaitl had like maybe 7 or 8 points? Yeah, there was a sizable gap in points between the two of them. And Connor McDavid absolutely just said, okay, you know what? Everybody thinks Leon Draisaitl is this great. I'm just going to show you that I'm that much better than him.
I mean, and by the way, so I'm buying around as well, but that's even if he doesn't win a cup and he's out in the second round. Like, that's just
30 points. This series, let's just throw this out there. I'm hoping this doesn't happen, but Edmonton could blow this series, lose in this round. Calgary could come back, win 3 games. And McDavid would be the first ever player to have 30 points in a postseason and not get out of the second round.
That's just
how nuts.
That's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. And the more we even think about that, by the way, so far the poll question is up. Who would win the Conn Smythe at the playoff ended today? Shesterkin right now is still leading with 59%. McDavid only at 15%, and Vasilevsky at 26%.
I love Shesterkin and I love Ranger fans, but come on, this is not even. It's not even close, right? Sorry.
Well, also going back, we were talking about that. I was talking about this before. Igor Shesterkin's got a .959 save percentage in this series and a 1.25 goals against, and he's second in goalies this round because Andrei Vasilevsky has got better numbers in both right now, and it's mind blowing. Wait till you see these numbers. But Andrei Vasilevsky is the best closeout goalie in hockey. Anthony.
In hockey around, is that a question? The guy during the regular season, he wasn't amongst the league leaders in save percentage or goals against average, surprisingly enough. But I mean, he really turns it on in the playoffs, and especially when the heat is on. When he has a chance to close out a team, I mean, chances are he's going to shut you out. I mean, he's been that good. What was the stat? He's done 8 of the last 9 or 7 of the last 8.
Last 9.
Yeah, that's like a video game. He's unbelievable. The guy's got ice in his veins. And there's no doubt if you need to win one hockey game, he's the first goalie I'm picking. And until someone proves otherwise, it's not even close.
He might meet his match in the next round. We'll see about that. Phil.
Pump the brakes there a little bit, Mark. Vasilevsky is
it's crazy because I posted the other day that Vasilevsky might be the greatest money goaltender we've seen since Patrick Waugh, and I happen to think that is the case now. I don't understand how he is just this good in these games where he has chances to close a series out. It's like, okay. Like the other day when we were on with Pete and I made the walk roll from 96 where he said, I'm not allowing another goal after this, where he got showered with the rats and got pissed off. He said, I'm not allowing a goal after this and didn't allow another goal. It seems that's what Vasilevsky can do. And listen, Igor should win the Hart Trophy as MVP. And I see these comments in there, without Igor, we don't get out of the first round. I get it. I'm not talking about what's going on in the regular season. I'm talking about what's going on in the playoffs. And
does Vasilevsky
goal in the playoffs right now? There's just no debate about it. It's just That's the one reason more than anything that I would not want to face Tampa Bay, because that's not a goaltending matchup they might win right now. So
I've seen it. I've seen it firsthand. Believe me, he's
Well, that's where I'm going to get to it. First off, I'm buying around on this because wow, he just slams the door shut. Igor is just getting a taste of that right now himself. So Anthony, don't worry, I am pumping the brakes. But it's just what he did to Florida in this series. He just gave Florida absolutely no chance. More on the Panthers in a moment, but it's just they had no chance, and just like you get to closeout games, he's going to shut everybody out. There's only one game in the last 10 playoff series that I think in a closeout game he didn't shut them out, and that was Toronto. They had one goal. So if you're facing a closeout opportunity, or actually if you're facing elimination, you don't want to be facing Andre Vasilevsky because he's like his beater.
His record after a loss is also ridiculous. After he loses the playoff game, he just comes back and he dominates.
I don't think he's lost after a loss. I don't think he's lost.
They showed the stat line during the Toronto series, I think it was, and it was ridiculous.
Well, we're going to go on to the Colorado St. Louis series. We got two topics with them, and that's Nazem Kadri is proving he can be a franchise center. Phil.
I'm gonna say shot. I think he's talented. I wouldn't say he's a franchise center. He's had a really good year. He's definitely a very, very useful player. I don't think he's a franchise guy though. If he's your number one center, you better have a really good number two center right there, like at his level, because I just don't think he's that guy. Could he turn a corner this late in his career? Sure, it's possible. We've seen crazy stuff happen like that, but I'm not gonna say that he's a franchise guy. It's just that it's too much of a leap of faith for me to take there. So I'm saying shot here.
Anthony,
that's a shot easily too. He's having a career year, and he's he could play good two-way hockey. But he's not a franchise center. When you think of franchise center, you think of obviously guys like McDavid, who even transcends that. But Nazem Kadri, I mean, no, he's not in that category. Very good player. He's probably going to get a good payday if he chooses to go to the market, which I'm sure he is. I don't know if Colorado's going to have the appetite to pony up what he's going to ask for. And good for him. He'll get his money, but he's not a franchise center.
I got to agree with you guys, and I'm going to go shot on this as well. And again, it's not to slam Nazem Kadri in any way. He is so far proving me wrong. Lots of people are doing that right now. And it's one of those things. Now, first off, by the way, playoffs aren't over, so he hasn't been suspended yet. And but there was almost a dirty play on him. We'll get to that in a second. And it's he's having such a great playoff round, or the first two. I mean, 10 points so far, but that's a big game that he had, and he's a two-way center. We'll see what happens. I think somebody's going to end up paying him as a franchise center, and I don't think they should. Like, he might get a good payday, as like Anthony was alluding to, and as I also alluded to, David Perron should be fined for almost elbowing Nazem Kadri. I put this on yesterday, so I have to do it again. Even though we're just talking about it right now, let me get to what it is. Watch Perron after the goal. Like, if Kadri didn't move back to avoid that could have been ugly. That could have been Pierre Turgeon-esque, as Anthony referred to it. And here's the thing. I defended it the first time around, saying good thing. Like I thought he showed restraint. He did. Anthony was right about that. Anthony corrected me, and no, that cannot happen. And that puck was in the net. He was already starting to celebrate. So I would almost say Perron should be fined, not fined, just suspended for it. You can't have it happen, even though you didn't have it. You didn't even do it. So I'm going to buy around on this one. And Anthony, since you're the one that fixed my opinion on this, go next.
Yeah, it would be a first to suspend a player who actually didn't
do anything.
Yeah. But I do think that they should send some sort of message, just because if he would have hit, I mean, Kadri would have been really, really bad shape. I mean, like bad shape. That was bad. Like you said, Dale Hunter-esque. He scored. The play was clearly over. And obviously there's it's deliberate intent to injure based on what happened with Perron and Binnington earlier. It's just a really, really coward play for Perron to do, and he is fortunate he missed. I'm not surprised the league didn't do anything about it, because there's no precedent for suspending a guy who actually didn't make the hit. But it was predatory. It certainly was deliberate, and the outcome could have been really, really bad. So, I mean, I guess I'll go round, but again, the ruling there kind of makes hard for the league to do anything about it, but they should absolutely have a conversation with him. I mean, I for sure.
Phil,
there's some sort of disciplinary action. I would say a heavy fine, at least. I don't know if you can necessarily suspend something for someone for something that never actually happened. I would definitely say that there should be a fine and there should be a warning. And then, because of the fact, I think the middle ground here would be to levy a heavier suspension than a normal first-time suspension, because of the fact that this person has a past and has shown intent to hurt people. So let's just say David Perron actually does this to somebody, or he actually, throws a dirty hit on someone that's a suspendable hit. And let's just say he should get like 5 games from it as a first-time offender, then make it 10 instead. Make it 10 and say, hey, you know what? Here, you have a history of trying to hurt people. Here it is in the video evidence, and start laying the hammer down on these guys, because the only way that you're going to stop these types of incidents is by setting the precedent and letting everyone know that, hey, we mean business. This stuff is going to end. It's going to stop. And by heavily fining him and, kind of using that against him as a rap sheet type thing, or as something that's going to boost, the length of a suspension, then I don't see any other way that you can do it, because you can't, obviously you can't suspend somebody for a miss like that. You can't.
And obviously we're saying in a perfect world you would do that, because it's one of those things you can't have it in the game. So, and I know I actually looked over as I'm looking at the poll. I saw some of the comments. You can't suspend a guy for something that they didn't do. I understand that. You got it, but I'm also saying that you have to send a message. Yeah, and you can't fine them for something that they intended to do. But here's the thing, and we're talking about Nazem Kadri taking out Jordan Binnington. So there's obviously the frustration for the St. Louis Blues and their teammates. So let's transfer it to Igor. If you're going to do something like that, it has to be in the course of a play, because if you don't do it after he scores a goal, because then you're just getting beat. You're a sore loser. Dale Hunter is one of the most disgusting acts I've ever seen on a hockey rink. And that includes Mike Milbury going up to the stands.
Another thing is, Perron did get fined $5,000 for the cross-check on Kadri. But what is that going to do? These guys get paid millions and millions of dollars. $5,000 to them is nothing. If you really want to stop that type of stuff, how about you make them, you fine them more? Like something will actually, affect their wallet. 5,000, 10,000, that's nothing to them. Absolutely nothing to them.
Go.
Remember when it was $500 is the max they could be fined in the playoffs, Phil?
Oh, the fine limit of $5,000 is really something that they need to get rid of, and I've been saying this for a while, because that's just ridiculous. The NHLPA will never go for that, unfortunately, and that's really the biggest problem. But that needs to be overturned. That start fining athletes who want to do garbage acts like these and cowardly, dirty plays, because that you're letting them get away with it, because that's where it's going to hurt them the most. Like Anthony said, you hit them in the wallet, and they're going to start doing this crap. They're going to, oh, well, you know what? That's going to take away from my my kid's college fund. They're going to think twice about doing it. So you know what? Get rid of that, and then we can start having more advanced conversations, and you'll see a lot less of these incidents happen.
It's also take away their playing time, because if they're not playing, then they're not making any money. And now it's a real thing. You don't need to have a situation like I'll use a fictional example, Rob Lowe in Youngblood, where he's celebrating a goal. And in the meantime, somebody took out Patrick Swayze, knocked his helmet off, and he cracked his head on the ice.
Yep.
It is absolutely just something that you can't have in the game. And it's not even like if you had a rooting interest or anything, or if you hate Nazem Kadri, you also don't want to see that happen to him. And the other thing you also don't want to have is people sending him death threats. So that's just ridiculous. Like, no, absolutely not. We're all educated fans. We can all be smart. There's plenty. Just no, get it out of the game. Just keep all that stuff out of the game. And David Perron, I know his frustrations there, but Anthony, you were right. I thought he held up. Nope, not Kadri got around it. So thank you for correcting me once again on that. I'm gonna go to this one's a little bit of a loaded question and a little bit of a tricky one. So I'm interested to hear what you guys think. If the Florida Panthers, who just got swept after winning the President's Trophy, want to win a Stanley Cup right now, they need to move on from Andrew Brunette, who is nominated for Coach of the Year. It's an insane question, but it's one that we have to ask, especially with all the coaches that are available for the Panthers right now. Philk, go ahead, start us off.
I'm gonna go Beer here, because I don't really think that their loss to Tampa was really his fault. I would consider Barry Trotz there. I think that would be a guy that could really get them over the hump. I'd imagine that might be conversations that they're having internally right now as we speak. But they ran into a buzzsaw in Tampa, and they ran into one of the best goalies. Probably going to go down as one of the best goalies ever when it's all said and done, Andrei Vasilevsky. They ran into a great team, a two-time defending champion. And even with the additions they made at the deadline, Giroux, Sherratt, even though I think Sherratt is heavily overrated, but it bolstered an already really good team. And I thought it would make them a tougher team to play against in the playoffs. And Tampa was just like, okay, like, we don't care about this. We're the champions for a reason, and we're going to take you out. So I don't know if it's necessarily coaching. Like, you could look at it that way and say, hey, you know what? They made these additions and they still couldn't get it done. And, obviously some of the onus gets put on the coach at that point. But I just think they ran into a better team with a better coach, with a much better goaltender, and they just were at the wrong place, the wrong time. They were going to have to go through Tampa, I think, one way or the other, and ended up being the second round due to the playoff format instead of the conference finals. Because I think if they would have faced them in the finals, they would have done the same thing to them. So I'm going to say Beer here.
Anthony.
I'm going to go Beer too. Not to take anything away from Brunette, but the Panthers have a really, really talented team. I think, that makes his job a lot easier. And not for nothing, but they had trouble with the Capitals, who I thought they should have, really ran through the Capitals. I know they are much more experienced, but I wasn't impressed with them in that round against Washington. And like Phil said, Tampa Bay, they're the back-to-back champs. I don't know. I don't fault him for losing for Tampa Bay and getting swept. But with that said, I think maybe with a more veteran coach, with the talent they have, I think they could go further. But again, it's not all in Brunette. I think he deserves another year. And I'd be surprised if they moved on from him. But, maybe in a year or two, if he doesn't get the team over the hump, then they make a move. But right now, I don't think they need to do it.
I'm gonna go Beer on this, and the reason why it's even a Beer at all, it's funny we're saying this with a guy that's nominated for the Coach of the Year, but it's hard when you're a team that needs to win in the playoffs with a rookie coach or a learning head coach. And this is the reason why I was opposed to Mark Messier being the Rangers head coach back in 2014 when they had a chance at going to win the Stanley Cup. You need a veteran coach. You need somebody that's been through the grind, can actually move, get players to do better in the playoffs. And if you're telling me you can have Barry Trotz or Mike Babcock or I mean, hell, who knows? Maybe even I mean, I almost want to say Joel Quenneville, but that ain't happening. But it's one of those things. There were a lot of veteran coaches out there, a lot of good choices, and I think Brunette's got a good future as far as the head coach goes. But if the Panthers want to win, and it's now, and you have to do it, but they're going to lose Giroux, they're going to lose Sherratt. So they might be right back in the situation. As Mike Rupp said, one thing that they're doing is it's easy to go, hey, we're down 6-2 versus New Jersey on a Sunday afternoon. Let's go turn it on. When you're in the playoffs, you can't do that against Tampa Bay Lightning. So there you go. All right. So that concludes the Bar Talk segment right now, guys. I know we kind of did a lot, went around the league, but now we're going to be doing some Q&A now and to close all this out. And I got to start with this one. David Dean brought up a great point. I know about this. Thoughts on the 24 for 64 switch? Phil.
I don't get why they broke up the kid line to do that. It just doesn't make sense to me. I think Capo Caco has been really good for them. Was his game last night as good as all the other games he's played in the playoffs? No, but you took him away from his line mates that had been the best line throughout the playoffs, and you changed everything up. I don't get this. I get that the results ended up being overall what was best for the team, but I really think that had minimal impact on why they were winning. So again, I don't get it.
Yeah, I'm okay with giving Mott some extra ice time or even promoting him for a little bit. But it was also a temporary thing too, right? Because I think they ended up getting back to the kid line again by the third period because he did the same thing in game one. They moved Andrew Kopp to the 3C, and they had a great first shift, and then he went right back to the lines in the second period that they've always had. So,
yeah.
But all right, let's take some more questions or comments. I do. By the way, Sean, I agree with you on that. If Coach Q was there, it might have been different, but you know what? You shouldn't have done what you did 10 years ago. I'll say that.
Yeah, there's a couple of other ones.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, hold on. That wasn't one. All right, so Kako looked lost on the fourth line, and Mott looked at it think, yeah, I would agree with this. I would absolutely agree with that there. I just think that the fits are kind of wonky, if you will. So get rid of that comment. The last comment that I had that was bookmarked from him was, why did he do it? I think he was just looking for a different look. I don't necessarily
players.
Yeah, coaches just like to sometimes put things in the blender, just shake things up.
Yeah,
just to see what happens with certain line combinations and see if what players can play with each other. Just don't have the ability to play with others. In the event that hey, we go down. And I don't mind him doing it when they're up in a game like that. Like you're up by 2-3 goals, and you have a good grasp on things. Okay, fine, no problem. Experiment with it a little bit. And there wasn't at any point when I was watching the replay of the game last night where I was like worried about it just seemed like Carolina was getting the great chances that really worried me in previous games against them during the regular season. Like even in game 2, they stifled the Rangers, but Carolina is not exactly pummeling them in their own zone.
Nope.
And that's the biggest surprise for me in this series. And that's what Carolina did to them all season. Even in the game that you're them 2-0, they were dominated for 60 minutes and somehow got two goals. And so that's not happened in this series. The Rangers
I look at
are
this
really
series,
good in their
right, and I look at this series, and I think Carolina dominated. Period 3, game 1. They, we'll say they just stifled. If you want to use the word dominated, but they stifled the Rangers entirely in game 2, and then period 1 of game 3, they threw everything but the kitchen sink at Igor Shesterkin, and 17 shots in period 1 of game 3, and then not much the rest of the. There was 40, I think, in total, because he had 43 saves on that day. 44, I mean. But the
Yeah, but a lot of those
just
were from outside, though. They weren't great
exactly
quality chances. So, trying to just take the deeper dive into it and analyze it from that perspective, this hasn't been like the regular season worked out. It's funny because the Rangers absolutely pumped them in 2020 in the regular season, and then Carolina absolutely destroyed them, and then Carolina has done the same to the Rangers this year, and the Rangers are doing what
Carolina did. And Phil, if you remember that playoff series, and Anthony, you remember the bubble, what changed around that playoff series entirely? Almost the second shift of the game, Brady Shea nailing Jesper Foss. So potentially speaking, and by the way, again, Sean McDonough, just you know exactly why that Ryan Reeves was out there, because Max Domi did what he did the night before. That's why he was right there.
Yeah,
Anthony, your thoughts on sending out the bruisers at the end and everybody objecting to it.
I mean, it's kind of par for the course in playoff hockey sometimes with that. Especially if there's something lingers on from the prior game and the game's already in hand, it's usually almost always going to happen. I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, especially if you're going to try to pull your garbage like what Max Domi did the other night, then that's what you're going to get right back. So here's what you could do: not retaliate.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And you know what? Reeves not retaliating, not punching Tony DeAngelo or Max Domi, that says it all. He knows he's in their heads right now, and he's doing his job. And exactly what we want from Revo. Big Daddy Revo doing the work. So I need a Photoshop of Ryan Reeves' face on Kevin Nash as Diesel's body, and where it says Big Daddy Cool on the tire, it should say Big Daddy Revo, because that's what he's doing right now. Glasses and everything.
I'll throw this out to you guys. What's the biggest surprise of the playoffs for you so far?
I have to go back to what I said before. The fact that Carolina absolutely clobbered the Rangers during the regular season, and the Rangers are they've cleaned up everything in their defensive zone against him or against them. And my other one would probably be the Oilers up 3-1 on Calgary right now. Like I
That's
can't.
what David Wood is saying right here.
Yeah, I would say Edmonton being up on Calgary was a surprise. And I also think Florida going out. I had them going to Colorado, go and play Colorado in the Stanley Cup Finals in the playoff pool we do. I thought that this was the year that, maybe Tampa Bay, doesn't possibly go all the way again. And I thought Florida was a good team to get a good team to take them down, but that didn't happen. But I mean, speaking of Florida, when we were talking about them before in Brunette, there was a comment from two people saying that, Bobrovsky, they need a new goalie, or Bobrovsky needs to go. Oddly enough, Elliot Friedman said in his 32 Thoughts podcast that he said from what he understands, he thinks that Florida tried to trade him this year, or at least lay the groundwork to do so. He said he's not sure if they're going to be able to do it because of his contract, but it seems like they would try to move Bobrovsky if they could find a team that would take his contract. And I think that's something that would help them a lot. But I mean, I can't really see a team jumping through a hoop to take a guy who's making $10 million a year in Sergei Bobrovsky. I mean, I would think Florida would either A, have to retain a good portion of it, or B, they would have to attach, a pretty decent asset to him to get a team to take him. But
Or there would be that contract coming back that way.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
it would be similar to trying to remember when Roberto Luongo was traded for Todd Bertuzzi and stuff, and that just did not work out. But
I mean, Bobrovsky's not even a bad goalie. It's just he shouldn't be making $10 million a year. I mean,
No,
I know he can. Like, I
well,
don't.
first off, let me say this. I talk about things that I first guessed, and Bobrovsky seemed like a natural fit to go to Florida, and he was going to do well. But the problem I had with it also is you then draft Spencer Knight in the first round. You can't have both because you're going to run into problems.
First, and then
Yeah,
sign him.
they drafted Knight first.
So it's all right. So it was 1 then 2, but still you don't draft a goalie in the first round and then use your mega buck dollars to go and get Bobrovsky. By the way, thank you for doing that, Florida, because the Rangers got Artemi Panarin very easily from that, because he was rumored to go to Florida and, of course, also across the town to the New York Islanders. But it's just one of those things. It's just it boggles my mind. And the worst part is Bobrovsky played well. In all honesty, he kept Florida in that series. The way he
didn't play bad, but I mean, again, look at it. What teams are going to take him? I'm assuming he's got no trade protection, but I highly doubt he'd go to Buffalo. I highly doubt he'd go to Arizona, teams that could take that salary. So I think Florida's screwed there, personally.
Yeah. And the part is that you have Knight, who looks like he's ready to be the starter, and that could save them a whole bunch of cap if they could find at least somebody to take that contract at 75%, I would say. That would even, because no one would take a full on. But it was just a dumb contract from day one. And we saw how those contracts work, for 30-plus-year-old goaltenders. When Henrik Lundqvist, who got, $8.5 million, that was even high for him. And then Carey Price, that contract is abysmal, and he got that also at 31 years old. So the biggest problem I had with that deal was the fact that Bobrovsky had really 2 great seasons. Like, not saying that he's bad. I'm not trying to, downplay his career or anything like that. But if you think about it, he had 2 great seasons. One was a shortened season in 2013 in which he won the Vezina, and the other one was his other Vezina year. And he got basically a big deal based off of 2 seasons. And you know what? When you start throwing a franchise player type contracts to goalies who are on the other side of 30, it's going to come back and bite you in the ass. And this is what's happening now.
I mean, they could always just trade him to Philly and go, hey, see, this is what your life could have been. And then he'd be retiring any minute. Steven had an interesting question on this, which was Ottawa saying that the 7th overall pick is in play. I mean,
that's not getting it done for the 7th overall. I can tell you
for
that
the
right
7th
now.
overall.
No way.
No, I don't think so. But
no,
I mean, Ottawa, that's not a bad decision to make, but
they're still a rebuilding team. So if they did make that trade, I would say they would want an established young player for 7th overall.
They're
unknowns.
You have to look more at like the Corey Schneider for
yes,
6th pick that Jersey made you.
Yeah.
I would look more at that trade at this.
Exactly.
You're going to need somebody a little younger, and Ottawa. There's no, and they're in even worse position, Ottawa, because they don't need anybody that's closer to 30 or on the other side of 30 or anything like that, because they're still a rebuilding team. So they're going to want somebody that's really going to fit within their time frame. So that's definitely not getting it done, though. I can tell you that right now.
Yep. And I think Ottawa
put it into the Instagram inbox.
I think Ottawa's also in the same boat as Arizona, where I think those 2 teams are going to look to take unwanted salaries from other teams and get assets while doing it, because they're going to need to reach the cap floor. So I think those are the type of moves they're going to look to make as well.
Yeah.
All right. So again, I guess when Florida was drafting Knight, was thinking, even with Bob, we don't know if we have the guy. So let's double down and increase the odds on a number 1 goalie. But yeah, but just like football, if you got 2 quarterbacks, you don't have 1. So
Not smart. I get the whole Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, battery mate mentality that they wanted to go for to have the quarterback develop, or even if you want to talk about, Alex Smith in front of Patrick Mahomes for a season there or two. But it was a very, very risky move. They could have went out and, signed another veteran out there. Even Varlamov actually probably would have been the better play there because it would have cost them less. And I honestly think Varlamov behind Florida could put up similar numbers to what Bobrovsky's put up there so far, if not maybe even better. So they went out and spent a whole lot of extra money on a guy who had 2 Vezinas to his name for 2 really good seasons, as opposed to making a smarter play for a similar goaltender in a similar, stratosphere who didn't have the accolades that Bobrovsky had. So, and it's come back to bite them.
And speaking of Bobrovsky, I just looked it up. He does have a full no movement clause that on July 1st of 2024 becomes a 16-team no trade list. So, they're kind of screwed there. I don't see him waiving his NMC to go to Seattle or Buffalo or Arizona or anything like that. So,
because what team needs a goalie? That's the thing. Bad teams need goalies, not good teams.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, like for instance, the Devils. I think the Devils are going to be looking for a goalie. I think they're losing faith in Blackwood, who's been hurt. Bernier, who they signed last year, is hurt. I think they're going to look for a goalie. But again, I don't think Bobrovsky would go to New Jersey. I mean, maybe he prefer New Jersey more than a place like Buffalo, but I don't think New Jersey wants a guy who's on the wrong side of 30 on a rebuilding team. So, one comment I want to highlight is this. This is in kind of in lieu of that. One thing I will say for sure is I don't think you're going to see other teams trading their first next year. You know why? Because next year is the Connor Bedard draft. And I don't think teams are going to want to give up their firsts in that draft because you never know what's going to happen. And why would you want to lose that piece and essentially, give up all hope in getting Bedard? So,
and also the Russian kid too is in that draft too, right?
Matvei Michkov, yeah, he's talked about as being one of the potential best goal scorers in the league one day. Kid was crushing Russian junior numbers that not even Alexander Ovechkin was putting up. So, Matvei Michkov. They might consider him a quote-unquote consolation prize, but holy shit, it'd be an amazing consolation prize to get.
Yeah. That's
I'm looking at myself
true.
and just thinking, oh my goodness, that looks terrible right now. That would be a pretty good one because he's drawing comparisons to Kaprizov, isn't he?
A lot of it's I wouldn't say Kaprizov. It's not. He's more of a goal scorer than Kaprizov is. If you ask me, Kaprizov is more of a playmaker. Michkov is more of a natural sniper like Ovechkin, just without the size. Michkov might be arguably the best sniper to come along in any draft, probably since Ovechkin, honestly. I mean, maybe Matthews, but it just, and Stevens right there. Bedard and Michkov in the same draft is like Crosby and Ovechkin in the same draft year. It's just, that's what it is. Bedard is going to be the dynamic playmaker, and Michkov is going to be the all world-class sniper. And that's, I'm with Anthony on this. Nobody is trading those two any first round pick 2023 because you're not going to throw away a chance at losing out on one of those guys because you never know what happens to your team. Who thought the Islanders were going to miss the playoffs the way that they did?
Exactly. That's why I don't see any team moving their first. I mean,
What was the discussion about the Islanders back in November? Shane Wright.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You guys were preparing for Shane Wright back in November. Who knows what can happen during the course of the season?
Which is still so crazy. And that was in the middle of all the losing.
Which, by the way, Shane Wright he draws some comparisons to Patrice Bergeron. So.
Yeah, I think he could be a really good number one two-way center.
Yeah.
Well, the number one thing out of all of it is that the Arizona Coyotes could try to lose. They're not going to win the lottery. So, I mean, after all, the Connor McDavid draft, they were set up to lose to get Connor McDavid, and they ended up getting Dylan Strome. That worked out well. You lose out on Connor McDavid and Jack Eichel.
I pray to God that Bedard doesn't end up in Arizona. Can you imagine a possible generational talent like that playing in front of an arena that only holds 5,000 people? That would be just terrible.
I'm going to highlight this one, Alexander. By the way, Alexander, welcome to the show. This is the first time I'm seeing you. I know you're thinking on it, but no, that wasn't a dirty hit.
No,
he was already committed to the hit, and Domi was in the middle of falling. So between those two things, it was going to look. I know it looks bad live, but you can see Domi start to lose an edge, and he's coming in to hit him. Now I put the elbow up, but he had the shoulder tuck
area because of the fact that Domi was already off balance, and the way that it looks in a replay doesn't give you how quickly it happens in real life, in real time. So I mean, and I don't want to hear anything about him leaving his feet because he didn't leave his feet until after contact. Domi stays on his feet, and like Steven says here, it's right into the chest. So that's Domi's fault. No, Trouba never left his feet. He didn't, not until after the contact.
Yeah. But here's the thing. I don't think he could have.
No,
he committed to the hit.
You know what? I don't want to be the guy that says, have you ever played hockey? Because it's to me, a lot of that is it comes off condescending. But there's a lot of discourse from people who truly don't understand how quickly these things happen and how much can change in a snap second like that. And it's Anthony and I have played together for 17 years. I've known Anthony. Marc has played for over 30 years, longer. He's probably played almost as long as I've been alive. And that says a lot. But
about 31.
Yeah, dig at you being old. But it's literally a split second. And it's not even just with him. It's I see this all over the internet, and I laugh at it because you can tell who doesn't understand the physics and how quickly these things happen and how the speed of the game is.
It's also like in a perfect world that he would be able to let up as soon as he knew Domi was falling. But if you're going, I'm going to hit this guy like right here, you're literally talking about trying to do this. I couldn't even avoid my hand right there, and I was trying to slap my own hand. So
you're in a way, Steven, you're right. It has nothing to do with playing the game, but it also does because there's a lot of people who just don't understand the fact that these things happen in a split second. You don't have enough time to avoid these things. The Trouba hit on Crosby. I mean, that happened because Trouba's stick ended up pushing out Crosby's skate. Crosby went down, and everybody caused a hissy fit about that. I mean, Domi's already falling. This is easy to see, so it's a different instance, but there are so many bang split second plays that happen in hockey, and there are a lot of people who don't understand it because they haven't been on a surface where they don't have control of what they're doing. Like, you're skating at upwards of anywhere of 5 if you're a regular athlete like us, 5 to 10 miles an hour, up to 20 miles an hour if you're Connor McDavid. And these things just happen in a flash. There's no way you have time to hold up on some of these things.
Well, Alexander, that's why we talk. And that's why we always focus on actually discussing all these things. We never want to talk down to you. We want to always go talk about those things. By the way, I'm a long-suffering Dolphins fan, and I feel your pain on that as well. I don't think Tua is going to be the guy over there either. Anthony, didn't you highlight a different one right there? It was Wickeds, where it was.
Yeah, because people are still talking about the Arizona thing from when I said Bedard playing in front of 5,000 people would be. So there were some comments trickling in.
It's only going to be. It's probably only going to be for 2 years. They're going to get it. They're going to get it done in Arizona. I don't think they want the Coyotes moving.
I thought they said the window was like 3 to 5 years.
I heard 2 originally. Oh boy.
I hope-
Well, it's a disaster regardless of how you slice it. Doesn't.
Yeah.
I would love
And
to
by
see
the
them
way,
go to
again,
Quebec.
I like to be proven wrong.
Just
I
I have to bail out though. I gotta get ready to go to work, so I will.
No problem, Phil.
see-
Take it easy. We'll probably hang
See
on
you
just
later,
a little
Phil.
bit longer too.
Yeah, so I'm not ending the stream this time, but take care, everybody.
See you later.
All right.
Darren Dreger said that the Habs are set to offer St. Louis a contract extension.
That's pretty good news.
Yeah,
It sucks for us because you almost got him on the show, and
Yep.
and he said he would do it in the future. But you know what?
Probably
But
not
I
anymore.
like Marty St. Louis and the job that he did. Yesterday with the Canadians. Sorry, I started reading a question, but Anthony, we talked about this the other day, and I'm going to highlight Alexander again, and then Everest. I got you right after that. But what do you think about ESPN's coverage?
I don't mind it. I think TNT's great.
Yeah, TNT's done the better job, but
Yeah, but I don't think ESPN's done a terrible job.
there's been times where I've questioned them. Like some of their camera angles, I'll be like, "Why are we focusing right here?" Or they'll do that behind the net coverage for way too long. Or, I mean, and I actually like Ray Ferraro and Emily Kaplan, so I have no problem.
I like Ray Ferraro. Yeah, Ray Ferraro was on our show.
And yes, Ray Ferraro, we had him on back in November, and you know something about him. This is what's great about him. He said I can only do about 15 to 20 minutes. It was a 28-minute video, and he would have stayed longer. We had to let him go. So
don't worry, I'm gonna start banging. I'm gonna start banging that drum at the end of the show where I try to convince everybody for you guys to get Mark to call Lou. So it's coming. It's coming. He has the number. He has the number, ladies and gentlemen. He just chooses not to do it in front of everybody. So just keep that in mind.
I got to see whether or not that's even in my contacts. I could have sworn I deleted it to make sure it was gone.
Oh, don't worry. I could scroll back and find it.
Oh my goodness. I actually didn't even realize it. My cousin is 50 today. And it was his birthday.
Big 5-0.
Big 5-0. And also, if you guys haven't seen Philk and my editorials last year on it, this is the anniversary of the Messier guarantee today. That was, 28 years ago. That was 28 years ago. And also the 8th anniversary right now, Marty St. Louis scoring the OT winner, and Philk, a very good editorial on that one. But it just
what are your thoughts on the game tonight? The Blues and the Avs. Do you think the Avs?
I think Avs close them out. Ville Husso isn't doing the job Jordan Binnington did, and I think that's the only way to describe it. Just he's not doing the job, and the Blues have been undisciplined. The Blues have gotten in their own way, and I mean, I'm more surprised that the greatest former New York Ranger of all time, Pavel Buchnevich, whom I like, but if you ever look at Rangers Twitter, I mean, it's hard for me to go in that. He's still goalless in the playoffs, and he needs to score.
Who?
And I thought they're going to make this more of a series.
Who's goalless?
Buchnevich.
No, he scored the other night.
Oh, he did? My bad.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have done my job and looked that up before I went on a rant.
I think the Blues are going to win. I mean, I think the Avs are going to close them out, but I think eventually. But I think the Blues are going to win tonight. That's just my gut feeling.
I really thought they had the chops to pull it off.
The first two games were really good. It showed that it could be a series, but then Binnington got hurt and Colorado's kind of ran off with it after that. But I think the Blues win tonight.
And again, I am not slamming the guy. I just you think I liked him. I really did like him. I wish
And
they never
yes,
could have. Yeah, he
I,
scored the
I
last game. I just forgot about that one.
the last I heard from the Blues beat writer from the Athletic, Jeremy Rutherford, I think it was in February. He said, as far as he understands, that nothing has changed with Tarasenko's trade request, and that he still would like to be traded, um, you know, potentially this offseason. So, yeah, he proved his shoulder is healthy. So now St. Louis could actually probably get a lot back for him in return. So they'll get more. So it looks like waiting paid off. But yeah, he definitely might be on the market, and that's someone that the Islanders should take a look at for sure.
Yeah. That's definitely a guy that I've been saying that the Islanders should go after for a while. They need a trigger man for that power play.
And the Islanders are one of the teams that he said he would have gone to too. So, I would like for them to get him, but he's third. I prefer Gaudreau, Forsberg, and then Tarasenko. Well, actually fourth. Gaudreau, Forsberg, Fiala, and then Tarasenko, just because Fiala is younger. But I would absolutely love for the Islanders to get Tarasenko or any of those four guys.
Anthony, I got to highlight this one. It is 100% right. It is hard not to look at the Lightning and give them.
Yeah,
respect.
I obviously they beat my Islanders the last 2 years in a row, but you got to respect what they're doing. They're on an incredible run, 10 straight playoff series victories. So I respect them for sure. A couple Isles related here. Yeah. I hear you. There were Islander fans last year when they suggested trade for Tarasenko. Like, oh well, his shoulder surgery, he's damaged goods, which I get. But I told people the issue's repaired. The reason why he wanted out was because the Blues doctors essentially kind of botched it and never fixed the issue. He went and got a doctor outside the organization to actually fix it, and he harbored ill will from there. But I said that I wasn't concerned about it, and they should have got him. And now it's going to cost them a lot more if they get him this year as opposed to last year. So,
also, I just got to highlight this. It is the anniversary of Star Wars being released in theaters. So the good Star Wars, not the last ones. I do have to say,
yes, they do.
Yes, they do. The Islanders need a finisher, and especially I think because all right, well. Alexander's asking about this one. We're featuring a lot of him right now. But with the hiring of Wayne Lambert, is there things you would look at and say the Islanders need to do X differently? Phil Ferraz.
Well, again, he learned from under Trotz, so I think, and he even said in his in the media availability, he said one thing's never going to change. He said that they are going to be a really hard team to play against. So he's gonna keep some of Trotz's schemes instilled in the team, but I think he also recognizes that the team needs to score more goals and provide more offense. So I think he's going to tinker with that. I think he's going to give Barzell more freedom to showcase his skill. So I think things are going to be a little different in that regard.
But even the way they kind of have the talent in the lineup, do you think they should go to be more of a top-heavy team, or you think they should still stick with the way that they have a very spread-out lineup? Or at least that's my opinion of the Islanders. I think they got a very talented spread-out lineup, but Anthony, there he is. Pros.
I lost you there for a minute.
Not a problem. So, and what I was saying with that is, should the Islanders try to become more of a top-heavy team? And I think I lost him again. All right, we have life. He moved. I'm waiting to see if Anthony's moving again. Let me highlight this one right now. Donnell, the NHL needs to go back to a 1-versus-8 matchups. It's better at least you know which team is playing who in this playoff format. You know something? I think both formats are great. I honestly do. 1 through 8, the last year of this, sorry, the second to last year of this, when it was 1 through 8, was the 2012 season. That was the second to last year. And it was the Rangers became the first team to ever play the 6, 7, and 8 team. And the not the Devils. The Kings became the first team ever to play the 1, 2, and 3 seeds. So it does happen like that sometimes, but I kind of do like you have to go through your division rival. This is sort of like the way it used to be back in the early 90s, where you had 1 versus 4 and 2 versus 3 in a division, and then you had to move on from there. So the one thing I got to give the NHL credit for, the NHL is never afraid to tinker with their product, which is funny because when the NHL happens, I'm not so much anti NHL. It's just or them tinker with their product. I'm anti baseball tinker with their product. I think baseball has been fine. You don't tinker with baseball, and they keep tinkering with baseball. So that's just what I think. And it must have AT&T internet. Yes. Yeah, and by the way, Steven, I think that's interesting and kind of weird. Like, I mean, I think John Sherholtz traded his own son, if I recall correctly, and Dave Lowry had to coach his kid. So I don't know. We're gonna go. I'll go 2 more minutes, guys, since everyone has left me either willingly or by force. In Anthony's case, it's not the infamous Mark 10 more minutes. It's only going to be 2 more minutes. Yeah, DH catchers and shortstops and anyone they want. Yeah, I hate the DH. I'm a baseball purist. I think if you pick up a bat, you pick up a glove, and you play the field more, you get better at it. That's just a simple fact. And I can't help but well, I know everybody on the air. Steven, I'll always have you. I don't have any problem with that. But I'm gonna get back to Wickets in a second. I thought they had the perfect format where it was all the division winners and then the play-in round for the playoffs. I know they discussed the best of 3 for the wild card. Shut up. If you're in the wild card, that's it. It's you get 1 shot. I mean, I'll quote Eminem: "You only get 1 shot. Do not miss your chance to blow, because opportunity comes once in a lifetime." Speaking about things, I remember when he first came out, I told my friend that he was a talentless hack, and now I have Eminem songs on my iPod. So I don't know if you saw my messages or not, but I heard from someone on the Islanders beat that they have a deal for Tarasenko last year, but they couldn't work the numbers out. Yeah, well, it's probable. I mean, there's some things, by the way, that I have that I just. Oh wait, hold on. I got Anthony back. Good, because this one's a good one for you, Ant. Good thing you're coming back now.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with my Wi-Fi. It's been really good. I pay Optimum the most for the highest level of Wi-Fi too, and sometimes it still just sucks. But
sometimes it could also be the neighborhood too.
Yeah.
Like I had that yesterday, a couple days ago, where I couldn't even replay our own streams, which was weird for me. Okay. Richie will get to that in 1 second, and you're right about that. I am ignoring it, but and Matador, I'm going to come back to you in another second on the Messier guarantee versary, because we're going to talk about that. But Anthony, the question down here that the Islanders had a trade in place that he heard, but that they didn't have the numbers to work it out.
So I actually, someone that that we kind of know, we had on here a contact. I'm not going to say who, obviously, but had said they had told me that he had heard the last time he had heard that Tarasenko was told that it was going to be the Islanders as to where he was going to be traded. So yeah, so what he's saying could line up with that. Especially if Tarasenko was saying he heard that, it was the Islanders he was going to go to. So yeah, I believe that. I guess if those two things align with each other, I guess maybe it just points to, like they said, they couldn't make the numbers work out with the salary. But so yeah, maybe it's something they revisit this offseason. If they get shut out on Johnny Gaudreau or Forsberg.
Yeah. So, and if they can do that, then great. But again, like you said right there, the numbers don't work. And sometimes, by the way, we do get some information from insiders that we then have to exercise journalistic integrity, journalistic integrity. It's two things I would love to get back into the fold with Big Apple hockey. I would rather have us be a good source for you to go to, even if our editorials might be off.
Yep.
As far as we have different opinions, but there's, like, we found out some information in the last couple of weeks we have not and will not put on air because it's just
correct.
You can't do it.
Yep.
Can't do it. We want to be a reliable source. We don't want to be like, I quoted this. I quoted that there was a
what was a Ranger that he's referring to?
What?
This comment I'm highlighting.
My question, what you asked? Oh, Donnell, throw it up there again because I forget which question that was. Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry. No, it's the playoff format. What do you think about the 1-8 playoff format?
I love the 1-8 playoff format. I mean, right now it's essentially is 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7 because the highest seed plays the lowest wild card. But 3, 6, 4, 5 is slightly different than what it is right now. And I would like for that to go back to that. I think it creates exciting matchups. I also think it creates a situation where I think Toronto was upset that they had to play a team like Tampa Bay in the first round. Some teams think playing that good of a team in the first round right off the bat's a little unfair, which I could kind of see. So yeah, I would like if they went back to that 1 versus 8, 2, 7, 3, 6, 4, 5, etc. But I don't think Bettman right now has any appetite to change it, unfortunately.
I like the fact that they got the wild cards where you could get the teams outside the division in there, and part of me just goes, you know what? Boo-hoo. Beat the team from your division. Yeah. And again, if in the case of Toronto, look, maybe we're saying that Toronto was a better team than what we thought. But, if you want to, as Ric Flair said, if you want to be the man, you got to beat the man.
Yep.
Woo.
This is ridiculous too, because the guy's a cancer because he wanted to be traded because he felt that the team was negligent on fixing his shoulder and stuff. Come on, that's ridiculous. There's nothing.
Yeah, and sometimes we get those opinions like that we end up forming.
Yeah,
I know it's the Mandela effect. We end up seeing things.
So
I still can't believe the Mandela effect is an actual thing.
Yeah.
People forget. They think he died in prison.
So I have a funny about for this commenter that regarding Tarasenko, and I remember mentioning it. I think I mentioned it when I got back from vacation last summer, but I was in Turks and Caicos last summer with my family, and
he actually came in via remote during our free agency.
Yeah,
go ahead.
But I was in Turks and Caicos with the family. And obviously, it's summertime in the midst of, it was the draft free agency, a lot of rumors about Tarasenko. We splurged. We rented a boat. It was like 4 hours on a boat, just us, with a captain. And the captain, he was born and raised in Turks and Caicos. Like, this is what he does, does for a living. He had some family in Florida, but I don't know. We got to talking about sports, and I told him I liked hockey. And he was like, he's like, not that long ago, I had a guy on my boat who played in the NHL. I'm like, oh, really? What was his name? And he's like, I think it was the guy who played for the Blues, Russian, Tarasenko. And sure enough, he shows me a picture of Tarasenko on his boat, and I'm like, all right. I'm like, this has got to be a sign. I'm in Turks and Caicos. What are the chances that this guy says, Tarasenko was on his boat in the midst of all these trade rumors? So I said to myself, like, oh, that's it. Islanders getting Tarasenko. It's just fate. He's getting traded there. But I thought that was funny because what are the odds? But yeah, no. So if it happens this offseason, then so be it. It's almost similar to when the Islanders traded Ryan Strome for Jordan Eberle. For the longest time, there were just kind of rumors about Jordan Eberle to the Islanders, and and eventually happened. And sometimes it happens. There's a player you think is destined to be on your team, and eventually it just happens.
Yeah.
Maybe this is it. Maybe Tarasenko is destined to be an Islander, and maybe it'll finally happen after a lot of smoke. But we'll see. I'll welcome with open arms, but I gotta tell you, if we signed Johnny Hockey on July 13th, you're gonna see one happy Anthony LaRocco here. I'll be doing flips.
Yeah, well, we're gonna be covering that. Anthony, I gotta go from one guy who is being perceived as a locker room cancer to one guy who's kind of got that locker room cancer reputation. And Rich has brought it up, and a couple of you guys brought it up in the chat. But I told you we're going to come back to it. Why is everyone ignoring Evander Kane and his 12 goals?
I'm certainly not ignoring it. I mean, he's been an incredible pickup for Edmonton. He's complimented that line. Draisaitl, McDavid, Kane. That line is just dominating right now. And good for Evander Kane. You hear stories about his character and everything he's gone through, but to me, I always give people the benefit of the doubt. There's two sides to every story. I know you talked about those COVID violations and all this stuff that he had going on, but I'm glad that he's found success. Listen, it's probably easy to play with McDavid, but I'm not going to take anything away from him. He's producing, he looks happy, and it's natural fit. So yeah, just unfortunate at the end of the day in terms of Conn Smythe and whatnot. When you play with Connor McDavid and with the way he's playing, you're not going to get the attention maybe that you deserve. But he's been excellent.
I think that is your answer on that one, Rich. It's just that he's McDavid is the story at 25 points. Kane's got to score those goals, but since you're bringing it up, something, 12 goals. That means you're 8 away from the record. There's never been a 20 goal scorer in the playoffs. No Wayne Gretzky. No. A matter of fact, by the way, do you know who holds the records for? There's two guys tied, Anthony. Most goals in the playoff year. Go.
Mike Bossy?
No.
Mario Lemieux?
Nope. One of them, I'll give you a hint, played against the Islanders. It wasn't the year that they did that. It's 19. That's the total. Two guys got it. And one of them won the Conn Smythe, but not the Stanley Cup.
All right.
Let's see if anybody got it on here. So far, no. I'm surprised Steven didn't chime on in. It is at 19 goals, Yari Curry and Reggie the Rifle Leach, who did not win the Conn Smythe. He won the Conn Smythe, but not the Stanley Cup. And I believe it was 76 against the Canadiens. And that's an amazing. Postseason.
That is.
And right now, 7 more. Yeah, and wow, you're just being featured everywhere, Alex. So
Jacob Markstrom's been even worse, though, surprisingly enough, and that's the difference.
There were two, Sean. That's great. Who had 19 goals? It was Patrick Nemeth and Wade Redden. Who else just mentioned the gaff? But it's anyway. But that was just weird. He let up a goal from 3/4 of the ice, but I think it's just he never saw it. So, the Rangers had a situation like that in '94. Kevin Hatcher shot a puck all the way down and it bounced over Mike Richter, and it was like shades of the '92 playoffs. And you're like, all right, hold on. But Richter kept his composure. Rangers won that game, and then they obviously won the Stanley Cup. 9 is retired in Edmonton, right? I think that was Anderson.
I'm not sure. I
Yeah.
guess not, evident. Oh, Kane's not wearing 9. He's wearing 91.
Yeah, he's wearing 91.
Yeah.
So yeah. And yeah, Dave is echoing what you just said. As good as Markstrom has been in round 1, he's been absolutely terrible in round 2. Yeah. I think there was somebody from Latvia that was on like about 2 weeks or last week with me that we were talking about Sanders Ozolinch, but
You love Sanders Lynch.
Yeah, he was great those few years at Colorado, and then I think he was also one of those players that was traded like right before the All-Star game and represented his old team while being on a new team. So, by the way, Core, you were right about that. What a great playoff game.
What are your thoughts on July 13th with free agency? You're going to do another live
Oh yeah, we're definitely doing that.
It's a Monday.
I know. Let me just show you the look on my face yet again. Yep, I know.
And then the draft is July 7th, right?
Yes.
So if we get approved for the credentials, are you prepared to go to Montreal?
Yeah, I keep telling everybody right now that if we get approved, I'm going. I have to. I'm going to need coverage. So
you're vaccinated to get into Canada?
Yeah, I have. Right. I got the 2. I took the jab.
Okay.
So
all right.
I had to. I was going to California for a wedding, and I'm just going, they're going to make me do this. I am not a needle person, and also, it was insurance.
Now, they
told me I have to take 7 jabs. That's a different story.
What are your thoughts on so the draft is July 7th and the free agency is on July 13th. What are your thoughts on them being a week apart? Do you think for more activity and more fun for everybody that they should be like days apart, or are you okay with 6? It's essentially 6 days. But I guess my question is, do you think that the draft should be let's say on the 7th, and then free agency is the next day or 2 days from then, just to kind of lump everything together? Or are you okay with it being a week apart?
I'm kind of okay with it being a week apart. You need to give the teams time to negotiate with their pending free agents, and it also generates more stories, more headlines, and they're going to do their interviews and stuff like that. And you got to let the dust settle from the draft itself. I'm okay with that. That'll all work. I mean, I wish it was. No, don't get me wrong. I work Sunday nights and I work Monday nights, so I would be hoping that free agent frenzy. The truth is, we'll probably do a 3-hour show. I remember last year it ended up being like a 5-hour show because Phil and Steven were on just talking after I left.
Are you also glad that they did away with the whole 5-day window where leading up to free agency you were allowed to talk to players?
Yeah, I'm glad for that.
Yeah,
because there's a reason. There's actually a reason why you would trade a player's rights over. Like the Rangers did it with Keith Yandel. They traded his rights over. I think they got like a 5th round pick or something like that. Florida then signed him.
I like it too, because it adds more excitement back to the actual day of free agency. Because when you were allowed the 5-day window, like a couple of days before, the insiders were already saying basically, okay, player X has signed with team X, and this is going to be the terms. And then just once noon hit on that day, they kind of were all announced like at once. This, with that gone, now there's a little bit more excitement build up and kind of like guesswork going into it, because you don't know prior where someone's going to go. I mean, there's exceptions to the rule. There are still like reports. Okay, well, this player's expected to sign with this team, but it's not as bad. And I think that's better for fans, and it's better for the excitement of the day that can't happen anymore.
That's why I love free agent frenzy when it's going at 12 o'clock. And usually you get a couple leaks, like Artemi Panarin was before noon. And then we get on we get on usually, I think the plan's probably going to be, we get on 11:30. I'm probably going to be wearing my hat again, being like, all right, not looking camera ready like I am today. And then it's going to be that first hour of just bang, 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 bang. I mean, by the way, if you didn't see it last year, we still have it right now. And whenever anybody signs, it's going to be just money flying from the sky.
Now, is it naive to think that? Because, for instance, I know the 5-day talking window is gone, but are we really to believe that Big Lou or any other general manager isn't talking to the player they want at all prior to noon on the 13th? Like, do we really think obviously Big Lou might be interested in Gaudreau? You really think that, he's not talking to his agent on July 11th or July 12th? And to kind of get an idea of what's going through their mind? I don't
know. D, make sure that you take some pictures and throw that up because I'd love to see
Mark.
Some of those.
Thanks for ignoring my question. I appreciate
it.
No.
My answer, I'm going to answer that right now. I just wanted to get some of these comments in because I saw some of them. The answer is no. Because let's go with the other direction. If let's say the Rangers are talking to want to lose free agents, you know what they're going to wake up with? Horse's head in the bed. But it's one of those things, sort of like RFAs and offer sheets, that there's just like a standard practice. Now, are there like conversations? Possibly. I think there's definitely conversations.
Yeah, it's got
the work around that is the players.
Yeah,
players get on and like Steven Stamkos, they were trying to recruit him for Toronto, and people go, "Hey, why don't you come back to your hometown?" Maybe you're texting him like that, because that's one thing the NBA's got. The NBA's got all the players doing recruiting. You can't negotiate that.
Yeah.
The reason why I worry about that. Wow. All right, Mark, that's awesome.
Yeah.
No, he did a great job.
I mean, I could see that. He could be. It seems like he could be pretty intimidating and.
But by the way, if that's the case, Anthony, you don't want it done to your franchise. That's why you probably don't do it to someone else.
But one thing I'll say about Lou is so whenever he does media availability, whenever someone asks him a question, like, for instance, Andrew Gross of Newsday, like before Lou answers the question, he says, "Oh, well, first of all, Andrew, how are you doing?" Like, he acts. It seems like he really, he's nice in the sense that he really cares about the people. He always asks them before he answers it. Not every question, but their first question of the session will be like, "Oh, well, how are you doing?" He'll ask. It seems like he takes an interest in the actual person, whereas I don't really think that happens too often.
Yeah, well, it also depends on who the person is. I mean, Andrew Gross, probably a really nice guy. And you don't hear anybody doing that to Larry Brooks. But I think also sometimes it's an adversarial relationship because like, look, the press, and then some guys just get along with it. But it's also there's the expression my acting teacher used to say to me: "Own the room. Whenever you're in it, own the room, and everybody will respect you
very much."
And by the way, Poppy, thank you very much. And then on right there, boom.
I know you're gonna hate this, Mark, but I think he's onto something. So I only got like a couple of minutes left, so I think we should start the peer pressure for Mark to call Lou right now, live in color. Just get on the horn.
He'll ask me how I'm doing today.
Just get on the horn. Big, hey, we're doing a live show right now. Can you tell me anything? Just do it. Your viewers want to see it. They want to see Mark Williams call Big Lou on the telephone, and it'll be.
Did I not just talk about journalistic integrity, and now I'm going to be calling Big Lou, cold calling him out of the blue, and I'm cold too, so it's going to get even worse. By the way, great. Jack Lundquist, right over here. I'm so interested to see the way things play out Thursday night. We dominate both home games and barely lost the games in Raleigh 1 and 2. That's still the positive I can say about this with the Rangers. The Rangers only lost by 1 goal those 2 games. Bounce
Yeah.
the other way, and you don't have to worry
You're right.
about that. Or you fix that back check in game 1, the one that tied the game.
So, Poppy, can you maybe expand on that? What's up with him? And then I can really kind of dive into that.
John D. Lee, that's a good question too. In a moment, we're getting a lot of Islander questions today.
That's
so
good. No, that's
about
good.
that. It's good. We always want to be informed, guys.
Yep.
It's not always just about the Rangers.
Big Lou does his lives via carrier pigeon. He might. He might. Or I think Big, you think like general managers go into the team's office for the day and does work. You think Big Lou drives to some some Italian like deli or like a butcher shop somewhere in New Jersey, and then in the back he sits down and that's where he does his meetings, all like Sopranos. Like he just kind of go along with that Mafia Lou theme.
Yeah, I was thinking. I think there was a guy on Justified that did the same thing too. But you know what? Hell, why not lean into it? Make perception is 9/10. What is the expression? I think it's perception is 9/10 of reality.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something there.
In the fish wrap. All right, yeah. So that's there were some rumors going on about that when Trotz was let go. That people said, "Oh, it was Barzal said he wasn't signing an extension if Trotz was still here." Elliot Friedman, in his 32 thoughts around the time that happened, he said he had kind of addressed that. He said that he has no reason to believe that any of that is accurate, and that there was no rift between Barzal and Barry Trotz. So Elliot's one of the best in the biz. So you kind of got to go with what he says there. So no, I don't think that's true. Do I think that maybe Barzal and Trotz kind of batted heads a little bit based on their styles? Yes. But I don't think Matt Barzal is anything close to a coach killer.
And those reports are definitely out there. I know there's some videos I scrolled by on Facebook. I didn't, or even on YouTube, that people have made, and they got thousands of likes and thousands of views, but they're really kind of nothing burgers. Where it's to use a line from, well, basically a lot of places have used that line now, where it's, oh, I think this happens. They cite a blog source about that, and it ends up being all phony information. Like, again, I was talking yesterday about the Tony DeAngelo exit from the New York Rangers, and where there was the blog post about him stealing Keandre Miller's puck, and I still can't help but say things don't add up with me on that. They still don't add up, because one of the people that was reportedly calling him after he got punched by Georgiev, or texting him, was Keandre Miller.
Yeah.
So it's when the presidents of clubs have to debunk false information, and it's just, and when we're going to report things because they're facts.
Yeah.
We're not going to report hearsay.
But to the root of the question, I don't think Barzal was a coach killer and I don't think he was any reason why Trotz was let go.
Which is, yes, that was the root of the question.
Yeah.
So
this actually, George Steinbrenner and Lou were actual friends, and that's part of the reason why Lou is the way he is, with the no facial hair and jersey numbers. He really learned a lot from George Steinbrenner when he was the general manager of the Devils. So yeah, Steinbrenner was a huge influence on him. So that's absolutely true.
Is Wes McCauley reffing the game on Thursday? The Hurricanes' record with McCauley is horrible, something like 11-48. Wow. I don't believe that's true, but it is what it is. Wally stealing. So that's, go ahead.
Wallstrom. He's got an unbelievable release, and his shot's really good. I think in the right situation, he's easily a 30-goal scorer. 30-goal scorer, 60-point guy. I don't think he's not really much of a playmaker, but I could see him being a 30-30 guy for sure. Again, he needs to play for a coach who maybe gives him a little bit of a longer leash, more ice time. But his shot and release is unreal.
We've seen 2 players this year on both New York teams reach their ceilings, and one of them went to a ceiling nobody ever thought he could go to. I'll go with the one everybody expected him to eventually get to, or they looked at him and said, this guy should be scoring 50 goals, and that was Chris Kreider. That's an obvious one. And there's a video that I got in the works. I'm still waiting. I'm actually waiting for the off season now to actually get it out, because we're going to need more content for the off season. But the other one is Brock Nelson. Brock Nelson now looks like a two-way matchup center that could score 30 goals against you. And sometimes when you see these guys, and you just got to let them develop. It might take years for them to reach their ceiling. But I mean, Wallstrom, I look over at that kid, I go, that kid's got a bomb for a shot. He's a potential power play finisher. He might be the guy. They don't even need Tarasenko, but you know what? There you go.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I worry about, though, is that if they would consider using Wallstrom as a trade chip to get a guy like Jacob Chikrin or Tarasenko, and I don't agree with it. I think the goal should be have Wallstrom in the lineup along with one of those guys, but you never know what Big Lou is thinking.
I got to highlight this one. Scarecrow, by the way, thank you very much. Just want to let you guys know I watch every episode.
Thank you very much.
You guys are growing and continue to put out awesome content. Thank you, Mark, Anthony, and Phil. And by the way, yes, and that's what the goal of this channel is. I was blessed to have this idea and start it up, and I was blessed to be joined by Phil, and then later having this guy message me out of the blue. And there's one of my favorite videos to still watch is the 1 year recap of how this thing is growing, and it's going to continue to grow. And I can't wait till we're doing shows every single day. We're kind of doing it right now, but that's a different story.
I'm going to start also getting guests on again. So look out for that. That's going to be coming in the pipeline. You know what it is? It's hard. Like for a while we had a set day and time. So it was easy for me to email these people and say, okay, can you come on our show at this time? I know last 2 weeks in a row we've done 11 a.m. But Mark, if you want to tell me a permanent day and time that we could do, then I could start, sending out emails and asking people. Because right now it's like, oh, do you want to come on my show on maybe Tuesday?
Yeah, that's the help things. When we get it to be more concrete, that's going to be a big thing. And if it's 11 a.m. And then here's the other thing we could also do. We could also pre-record those segments and then put them on. So that's something we can also start thinking about with that. I just thought about that right now. Of course, you shouldn't be thinking about random thoughts on the air. But so it's a lot of stuff that we're going to be doing a lot of content. And we're going to keep on just throwing out more content at you guys. So Barzal was a waste of talent under Trotz. Yeah, but you know what? Trotz fixed. We're talking about a guy that everybody thought of as a cancer. Alexander Ovechkin, a lot of people said that about him, or he's a defensive liability. He's never going to play defense. Trotz got him to win a Stanley Cup and be a Conn Smythe Trophy winner. Yeah, and he's improved his defensive part of the game. He's not winning any Selke trophies by any means, but he's not the controller disconnect gif that he was back in 2013. Lou also owns part of the Yankees as well. I didn't know that.
I heard something about that a long time ago, but I wasn't sure if it was accurate.
Let's see. Anthony, did you know that the move made by Zegras was first done by Oliver Wahlstrom? Oh, he did it when he was a kid. I'm surprised he's never broke this out in shootouts.
Yeah, I think he's referring to that viral video when Wahlstrom was like 7 years old or 11 years old in that I guess that intermission at a Bruins game.
Yeah.
That
was amazing. I still remember that. And again, I'm surprised he hasn't done that in a shootout. I do have to say this, Mike, and I could have talked to you about it last night. Probably my favorite category for hockey videos is the Steve Dangle trade trees, because it lets you know what that trade really entails. And his Wayne Gretzky one was huge. His Eric Lindros one was huge. That there was players involved or branching from the Wayne Gretzky trade that are still playing in the NHL right now. It lets you know what the ramifications are. It's not just player one for player two, and then that's it. I used to have this same saying and everything of Tony Granato and Tomas Sandstrom for Bernie Nichols. Bernie Nichols got the Rangers, Mark Messier. So it's sort of like that. And that you make one trade, it can impact you on another one. Anthony, you ever watch Steve Dangle's Trade Trees?
No, I've only watched some of his videos when he melts down about the Maple Leafs because it's hilarious.
He even says it too. He's so great.
Yeah, it's really great. Those videos are priceless, and that's what really put him on the map for a while.
Yeah,
and then now he's become mainstream.
Yeah, and I like the work that he does. So
Yeah.
I mean he's one of the guys on the wish list I have to get you with
Steve Dangle.
Yeah, I would love it if we can get Steve Dangle.
Yeah,
just to come on and talk for a little bit.
right,
I don't know what
I'm heading
Discord
out.
is. I'm learning more about it.
I'm heading out.
Okay, actually, we're gonna head out together then. All right, guys. Again, thank you very much for joining us. Well, by the way, my 2 more minutes turned into about 30 more minutes. So, everybody, thank you very much for joining us today. We are going to be doing probably a post-game show. I'll say Friday afternoon, because it's Thursday. So Friday afternoon, we're going to be doing a post-game show. No video tomorrow. And just everybody, thank you very much for joining us. And we're on the road to get more subscribers. It's been great. It's always great. Can't wait till the next time. We'll see you soon.